Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pickles and Bacon Show Rewind, where we discuss all of our favorite books, movies, TV shows, and things that we're doing in our life right now. Um, let's just get right into it because I have nothing else to say at the moment because I will go off and I'm trying to hold in this feminine rage for the people who truly deserve it.
Hold
All
on a
right,
second.
thanks.
Go
Hold on.
ahead.
All right. So let's what do you know about the Desolation of Smaug?
I know this is excuse me. Redo. I know this is the sequel to the Hobbit movie. I think it was called An Unexpected Journey, which is the first part of the Hobbit movie, which is the prequel to Lord of the Rings.
Did you like this movie or this version better than the Lord of the Rings?
Never. I'm sorry.
Never.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the Hobbit, but do I think it's better than Lord of the Rings? No.
Absolutely not. I'm the same. All right, so let's get some info on The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Let's check the Wikipedias, shall we? All
Yes.
right. So The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug is a 2013 epic fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Jackson. From the screenplay by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Peter Jackson, and Guillermo del Toro. It's based on the 1937 novel The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, the sequel to 2012's The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, and it is the second installment in the Hobbit trilogy, acting as a prequel to Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, you know the one where Beatles sing it back, where the Beatles are on the mountain singing it back.
Yes, the film follows the titular character Bilbo Baggins as he continues to accompany Thorin Oakenshield and his fellow dwarves on a quest to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from Dragon Smaug. Pursuing them are the vengeful orcs Azog and uh, Defiler and his son Bolg, while Gandalf the Grey investigates the return of a long forgotten evil force in the ruins of Dol Guldur. The ensemble cast includes Ian McKellen, Martin Freeman, Richard Armitage, Benedict Cumberbatch, Evangeline Lilly, Lee Pace, Luke Evans, Ken Stott, James Nesbitt, and Orlando Jones. The films were shot simultaneously in 3D at a projection rate of 48 frames per second, with the principal photography taking place around New Zealand and at Pinewood Studios. Any additional filming took place throughout May 2013. The Desolation of Smog premiered in Los Angeles on December 2nd, 2013, and was released on December 12th in New Zealand and on December the 13th in the United States by Warner Brothers Pictures. The film received mostly positive reviews and grossed $959 million at the worldwide box office. It's also the fourth highest grossing film of 2013. The film received numerous accolades, including the 86th Annual Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects. The final installment of the trilogy, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, was released in 2014, and it will be next up in our next movie review. So that was a little bit from Wikipedia. So let's start. When we last left off, we were sort of on Bree. Uh, so uh, this movie opens uh in like a flashback scene with Thorin going um through Bree. It's a rainy night. We get that same scene from The Lord of the Rings when they're in the prancing pony. It's a slow down shot. You get Peter Jackson stepping out of one of the shots to eat the carrots, and then you see the prancing pony, and you're like, I've seen this. You're like, wait, I've seen this part exactly before, and I was like, I
The
literally
Hobbit
had to
or
stop.
Hobbit.
I literally had to stop and like watch it again because I was like, it's literally the same shot. In fact, I'm convinced that they use the same exact footage from Lord of the Rings for that particular shot. How much you want to bet?
Most likely.
And you can't even see whose face it is underneath the cloak. Like, you only do like a turnaround shot. That could have been shot anywhere. Like, he could have just superimposed that in. Tell me it's not the same shot. Tell me it's not.
Oh, facts! It is!
It's the same exact shot. I'm just saying. All right, so then you get Thorn is eating at the table. He's being watched at the prancing pony. Again, where have I seen that before? And then all of a sudden, Gandalf sits at the table and introduces himself. Thorin tells the story of the battle, and that he's looking for his dad at I think it's the Battle of Moria, but I also thought it was the Battle of the Lonely Mountain. I couldn't really hear it very well because it was, I don't know. Gandalf explains where the Arkenstone is, and they will need a burglar to go get the Arkenstone. It took me like 20 minutes to actually to figure out what they were talking about and remember. So I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Because it's sort of not very clear in the beginning, but anyways. So then now we have a time jump to 12 months later, and Bilbo is watching what looks like a bear. Um, Gandalf takes everyone to Bayron's house, and they say that he's a skin changer who can take the form of a man or a bear, and they're like literally being chased through the forest by like the skinwalker. Tell me I'm not lying when I say that's a skinwalker.
Facts.
I mean, literally, that's a skinwalker. All right, so and then of course, you know, the white orc is there. He's sitting there making a plan that they're gonna go chasing and kill the dwarfs as they sleep. And you know, I have to admit that in this movie, like, okay, do you remember the Lord of the Rings? Like every time Frodo takes out the ring, the wraiths know exactly where he is, or the orcs, or whoever it is, right?
It's the ringmates, yeah.
And every time Bilbo takes out this ring, the same ring, by the way, oh, like he's just throwing it around. He's running through the shadows in it. Like, do street rules not apply for him? I'm just asking.
Right?
I'm just asking. Because again, now he wakes up and he looks around. He's holding the ring in his hand. And of course, you know, he's just going to put this ring on and, like, obviously. So, after this, the white orc meets, uh, the necromancer. It's like this shadow thing that's bouncing around that becomes the Eye of Sauron, which we see the Eye of Sauron actually take form in this movie, like in the tower. And he assigns the task of killing the dwarfs. Um, After that, this is the first time that we get to see Baelorn when he comes back as a man, and Gandalf is talking to him. And this man, Baelorn, hates the dwarves, and the whole time he's looking at him like this. Like, what are you talking about? So Gandalf wakes Bilbo to tell him to meet Baelorn, obviously who hates the dwarf, and Thorin, who comes out at the very last minute from the house. Then the next thing you know, Baelorn is all playing host and he's pouring everyone drinks at dinner. You know, he's telling his story. I didn't quite pick up on a lot of what he was saying there because I also had to listen to the phone because I was also at work. But Baelorn gives them info on the necromancer. As everyone is leaving though, Baelorn asks Gandalf if the mountain is haunted, of course. And he says yes. Baelorn then speaks about the mysterious darkness that ruled the land. I wonder where he's going with that, Gandalf. So, of course, you know, Gandalf leads the dwarves on horses to the elven roads, and you're like, ooh, more elves. And so, Bilbo says the forest looks sick, like it's diseased, like disease has fallen. upon it. And of course, now he takes out the ring again and he can hear it speaking. This is the first time that we hear that, like, whispery sound every time you put on the ring. Which, like, honestly, girl, who are you talking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next part, we see, we are getting a flashback of Galadriel telling Gandalf to beware of the necromancer and to go to the mountains, and that a great evil is coming. I wonder what evil that is. Having seen The Lord of the Rings like a bunch of times, you know what I'm saying?
Don't know, no clue.
Absolutely not. So, the dwarves are freeing the horses just as Gandalf says not his horse, because he's leaving again to leave everyone to fend for themselves and just do whatever Gandalf does. Which I notice is a common thing throughout this movie.
He does it a lot in The Lord of the Rings as well.
Oh, and then Bilbo tells Gandalf that he found something in the goblin tunnels. Gandalf looks at him expecting Bilbo to tell him about the ring because he already knows. I think Gandalf already at this point knows that he has the ring, but I don't think that he expected Bilbo to lie about it because Bilbo obviously lies about it and says he found his courage, and then Gandalf says, "Good, you'll need it." Like, girl. So now Gandalf gives the orders not to go into the mountains without him. Like, how long we have to wait for this, girl? We gotta go get our things.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, the dwarves go into the cave to kind of chill and hang out for a little bit. And the dwarves, I noticed, can't breathe in the caves. They're like kind of huffing and puffing. Bilbo also kind of feels lethargic. I took the scene to mean that there was some sort of like toxicity in the air, but I couldn't really.
Yeah, because I thought this was where in Lord of the Rings. I thought this was where they go through the Black Gate of Moria.
I don't think this is the Black Gate because this is the Lonely Mountain. Thorin sets to send the lightest first. So Bilbo
That
hopscotches
leaves me
through
out.
the trees and vines, across the river, and as they're touching like all these trees and things, like obviously that stuff is getting in their nose and their mouth and like through their pores, so they're gonna be lethargic for a little while. So at the end of this climbing around, Bilbo can see the white stag, and Soren raises his bow and takes a warning shot at the stag. Bilbo is like, I don't think we should kill it. Um, and then as they're as the dwarves start jumping across this like river, the chubby one falls down and like lands in the water. So now the dwarves have to carry him over their shoulders. And he looks so funny. Um, and the next thing, so then at this point, Bilbo can hear voices again coming from the ring because he keeps taking it out. And then once everyone gets to safety, they're literally tripping. Even Thorin tells everyone to follow him. And while they're all tripping, Bilbo is trying to get everyone to stay on the path. But of course, Bilbo's having hallucinations and they're wild. He keeps saying we have to find the sun. And the dwarves start fighting each other, and Thorin says that they are actually being watched, which they are. So now Bilbo climbs up this tree and finds the sun. This is also at the same point where Bilbo says that he can see the lake and the mountain, and then it does this sweeping landscape, and it's so beautiful. Um, to me, these landscapes and these like outside shots are like classic Peter Jackson. Like, expect to see beautiful like panoramic landscape and like see overhead shots of everyone running through the mountain. It's kind of like Baz Luhrmann has his particular angle setups and things like that. Peter Jackson definitely has that same style, by the
Now,
way.
I have a question because I wasn't too
Yeah.
sure on this, and I got to make sure. Now, I know Lord of the Rings was, but is The Hobbit also filmed in New Zealand?
Yes, it's filmed in New Zealand.
Okay, I was just making sure because like I knew the Hobbit was. I mean, I knew the Lord of the Rings was. I didn't know if the Hobbit was.
Yeah, I think that's where Peter Jackson is from. So Bilbo then says, "Oh my God, sorry guys, I just woke up from a nap." Then Bilbo says he knows which way to go, and as Bilbo's coming down, and he gets caught in a spider web, which like again with the damn spiders. Um, but Bilbo obviously can hear the spider speaking after he puts on the ring, like, "Stop putting on the ring at this point, dude. You're waking up the damn evil." Bilbo, as Bilbo's killing these spiders and these orcs in the fight, he calls the sword that he's using Sting. How
Why do I
fragile
know
we
that?
are. And then the dwarves start killing all the spiders. And then this was my favorite part because Bilbo has the ring out and of course is making a face. And then this is where now like all the big characters start coming in. Legolas swings in on vines and threatens to kill Thorin. And then we see a pretty female red-haired elf, Tariel, who comes in and starts killing the spiders. Methinks the female elf is given more to do.
Now I have a
Peter,
question about her. Was she supposed to be Legolas' sister? Because they don't really mention, they don't really allude to it. Like the way that they're interacting, I thought that she was like his wife or something.
well, she's apparently supposed to be some sort of, I don't know, she's some sort of kin because at some point I know that Legolas said that his father wanted her to stay with him or stay there with them and that he would take care of her. So I assumed she's some sort of kin or some sort of relation, but it wasn't made clear. But I also feel like this female elf, Toriel, who, um, by the way, this character I don't think is in the book, by the way, but I think she's placed here and given more to do in this movie. To combat for they used Arwen very sparingly in the Lord of the Rings movie because Arwen is also an elf. She's also trained to fight. She's um Elrond's daughter, but I feel like I feel like they overcompensated with this elf. But that's just me. It's Evangeline Lilly, by the way. She was okay looking. Um, so now the elves search the dwarves, and Legolas searches one and opens a case, and you can see a picture of uh his wife and Gimli, and she's got like a beard and everything, and he's like, "Who are these guys?" And he's like, "That's my wife and my son." And you're just like, "Oh my god, it's Gimli!" Like, if you seen the banter between Legolas and Gimli in the Two Towers, freaking day, every day. Like, he's like, Gimli's like, "Legolas, tell me what's happening." And so Legolas is like, "Can I get you a box?" And you're just like, "I
No, he's
need
like,
you
do you
two
want
to
me to
stop."
describe it to you, or should I get you a box?
Exactly. You're like, "I need the two of you to stop because we're about to get murdered and I cannot be laughing right now." um, so it's important to note again, though, that these movies are filmed 10 years after the original Lord of the Rings. And I hate to say it, but you can tell that Orlando Bloom looks older here than he does in the first movie. Not that I'm ageist or not that I care, I'm just saying you can tell that he's aged a little bit compared to when you see Elijah Wood at the beginning of the film, he looks the same. I don't know what it is, but anyways. Legolas is asking where they got the elven made swords. Bilbo again puts on the ring to be invisible because, like, what the hell? So now Legolas is taking them back to the Elven Mountains, to meet his dad, Thandril. And they're in the Woodland realm, and I think didn't we see the woodland realm in the Lord of the Rings where Legolas lives? Because I remember Legolas being with Arwen's people. He rode in with
No, he was because I know in Lord of the Rings he's in Rivendell when
yeah,
the
he's in
gang rides in
Rivendell with
when the gang rides into Rivendell, and then like I think when he goes back, it's when they meet Kate Blanchett's character. I can't remember her name.
that's not the Woodland Realm. I don't think that's the Woodland Realm. They're different type of elves. We don't ever get to see the Woodland Realm where Legolas is from. We see it now in this movie. Um, and so now Thandril is interrogating Sauron about the Arkenstone. They're willing to make a deal that he wants that white gem. Thandril obviously wants the white gem and makes a deal with Thorin to return the items. Thorin reads him to filth, and Thandril is like completely shook. He has no idea why this dwarf person is talking to him the way he did, but obviously get it because you were like amazing. So at one point during this like interrogation, Thorin says that Thandril has no idea what the dragon is like, and then Thandril, I guess, does some sort of magic spell, and you can see like all the burned scars on his face, and then Thandril was like, "Okay, to jail with all of you," and sends them to jail.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing over there?
I'm just looking at something because I'm listening to Kamala Harris give her speech.
Oh, we'll talk about all that later, cause y'all are wrong for that. Anyways, so Thandril can see Bilbo lurking in the shadows, and I think he says something like, I can see you lurking in the shadows," and he's looking right at him. And then Tariel comes through, and the white orc is looking around outside of the Ridland realm. And then after this little particular scene, Tariel and Kelly, one of the dwarves, as they're being put in jail, have a moment, and he shows her his little talisman, and he flatters her. Of course, she's like, "Oh my god, thank you," and she tells him about the Feast of Starlight, which obviously famous so And then, of course, Legolas sees Tariel talking to the dwarves, and he's like all upset. And I'm like, listen, Legolas, shut the fuck up, okay? You go home to Katy Perry every night. I don't want to hear a single word about it.
They're not married though, are they?
No, they are not. I'm just saying. Like, can we get Britney Spears a good man? Can we get Britney Spears a good man? Have you already seen the new dude that Britney Spears is with? And like,
Hang on,
this woman.
let me look this dude up. Hold on a second.
This woman, like, I can't with her and her boyfriends, honestly. I'm just like, girl.
Does he look decent or is he trash like all the other ones?
Well, you said the last part out loud. I'm just saying, have you seen him? I'm just saying, have you seen him? Anyways, so Bilbo is lurking around in the shadows still, and he pops up out of nowhere, and he throws him the keys and lets everyone out of elephant jail, passing sleeping drunk elves. They
This
call him
dude?
yeah, that dude.
She can do so much better. Like, look, I know I'm not exactly handsome my damn self, but goddamn.
Brittany, I don't know how you be picking these dudes, but
And my Gator's going off on him.
My everything went off on that. I was like, I ain't touching that. I was right with Sam. I was right with this one. But Brittany's problem is she's too secluded and she really still can't go out. So they're putting all these dudes in her way to play with, and they ain't worth shit. So Bilbo gets everyone to climb into these barrels, and then he pulls the lever, and all the barrels fall into the water, which I think this should be a ride at Universal Studios. I would totally ride the Hobbit barrel ride and just be clunking around in the water like on a track. And then you get splashed by the waterfall. I'm just telling you, like, that would make a good ride. Y'all are not thinking clearly. Just like I always said, the Titanic would make a cool ride. Y'all don't listen. Y'all don't listen. So then, the elves wake up now, and Bilbo slides down the chute with the elves, and the elves start giving chase. And of course, I said the barrels look fun, but um, I wish they had a seatbelt because they're like bumping around and like moving. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get seasick. All right. So, at this point now, the elves sound the horn, and the gate closes, but they still manage to get through the through the gate. And of course, now the elves are taking out the elves one by one, and they get into the water. I'm like, what are these orcs? Like, these orcs cannot die because me thinking if you get in the water, you're gonna fucking melt. Do you know what I'm saying? What are you
Exactly.
doing?
Taking a picture?
Let me see. You take a picture of us. Are you gonna post it on the TikTok? Are you
Yep.
gonna post it on the TikTok?
Girl, you know I am. Shit. Get up and smoke a cigarette. Talk about the damn movie. Hurry up. Pissing me off of fur. Assert your
So now
feelings, Harley Lily. sorry.
that's fucked up. Okay, so now the elves, the orcs are shooting at the dwarves, and of course Kelly gets an arrow in his leg, trying to open the gate. And Toriel and Legolas come to the rescue. And Legolas is doing like all these sick moves. At one point, he's like standing on top of the heads of these dwarves, and I'm like, how fucking dare you? I'm like, I see you. Like, okay. But back to Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom for a second. There was this picture released of him and Katy Perry, and I guess they were skinny dipping, and he's on his surfboard. And when I tell you that I never thought that Orlando Bloom was packing heat, I'm like, let sir, sir, like, okay, Katie, like, swish, swish. I like that song. I don't know why nobody liked that song. Anyways,
Which
so
song?
at the that song swish swish by Katy Perry. I think it was from the second album when she had the short blonde hair.
I don't think I remember that one.
It wasn't that popular, but I think in the music video she's like playing a basketball player, and she's like with all these girls. I don't. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but anyways. So now Kelly is sick from being poisoned by the arrow, and then we go back to Gandalf. Which at this point, when we went back to Gandalf, I was like, oh shit! I forgot about you because I've been like so invested with Killy and Toriel and like the elves and Thandril. And like I forgot you were in this movie, dude. But guys, I'm gonna put this on hold for a second because I gotta use the little girl's room.
He is back.
All right, and we're back. Got a cool, refreshing beverage.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so now where were we? So okay, Gandalf comes back into the picture, and I'm just like, I forgot literally about Gandalf this entire movie. I was like, where you been, my guy? And he's walking in the mountain all alone, and of course he finds Radagast in the dark mountains of Moria. It's like this like shadowy thing that he's like wandering around in, and I'm like, Gandalf. I was like, you laughed this whole time, and I literally was like, oh, I forgot about you. So nice and refreshing. Okay. And then now the dwarves have made it back to the land, They bind Killy's leg because he's literally starting to be like green, you guys. And as they bind his legs, one of the dwarves is emptying the waters from his boot when someone is behind him. And of course, it's your husband, Luke Evans. Listen, okay, no, y'all have to understand something.
But seriously, though, no, listen, because I want to clarify this because I know there's going to be some haters. I'm not gay. She's just kidding.
My brother is not gay. He loves LGBTQIA, of course. Me and our friends and everybody like that. But he shocked the fuck out of me when we saw Beauty and the Beast, and he's like, "That man is gorgeous."
Think about it. Because if you watch any version of Beauty and the Beast, right? How do they portray Gaston? Seriously, like, answer this question for me. How do they portray him?
Yeah, no, but you're right. But I'm just saying, like, literally, you were like, "That man is hot," and then so like it's been our joke, like so many times. I'm like, if you had options to be gay, who would you go out with? And he's like, no question, Luke Evans. And I'm like, honestly, I stand, like, cause I was like, you are a man.
Hang on a minute, will you stop?
I was like, you are a man of the 21st century. Anything is possible. You have options, okay?
Yeah, but again,
don't just limit yourself.
Again, she's just kidding. I'm not gay.
But it would be okay with me if you were, because I don't really care. Because it's not my business. Anyways. And to the haters, I say, mind the business that pays you. I'm looking at you, Monica Kiesler. You killed Peanut and Fred. And we will never, ever respect you for that. And
I don't know. I don't want to know it.
Atashi, your tail, ma'am. I know you're the executive producer, but I need for you to get out of the shot. So, of course, there was Luke Evans who plays Bard, and he's like a super like fisherman. He's got this boat or whatever, and the dwarves ask if his boat or barge is for hire. And then they say that they are merchants, but he knows they're the dwarves from the mountain, and they're gonna kill Smaug. So the dwarves offer to pay him double to use their barge, and then we get back to Thandro, who is interrogating an orc who Legolas and Tauriel had captured when they were fighting with the dwarves that had escaped in the barrels. And he tells them that Killy was poisoned with the arrow. And of course, Homegirl's going to go after him because she's got to use that good elfin medicine to take care of him. And Tauriel wants to kill him, but Thandro says no. And then all of a sudden, he's speaking to the elf with Legolas. And then Thandro beheads him after finding out that the dwarves plan to release something dangerous. Legolas finds out, and of course, Tauriel has left because these elves can't keep their fucking mouth shut. I'm just saying, like, mind your own business. My notes for these movies, you guys, are fucking wild. I literally was like, Orlando Bloom has the prettiest blue eyes. And that shot where they like show him and he like has a close-up shot, I'm like, he has the prettiest eyes there. Anyways, so back to the dwarves. They pay Bard, and then they have all these fish dumped on them in the barrels that they're on, and I was like, you guys, like, I'd be like, I'm sorry, there's not enough money in the world that I would pay to have that experience. Count me the fuck out. And so of course Bard is having a hard time over the fish when they get to the land. The guard says to dump the fish, but Bard is like, no, we're not dumping the fish. We're not dumping them overboard. He argues that, people have to eat and they need food and fish, and he's going to sell them on the land. And, the mayor's gluttonous. I think it's played. I forgot who plays the mayor, but I thought at first it was Ricky Gervais, but it's not. So of course now this grimy guard, with the funny hat runs back to tell the governor, whoever that dude is, and he says something like, "Who would have thought, or who would have?" And then the grimy dude pops up with a plate and says bollocks. And it's like, and then we get this gross scene of him like eating this food and it's like disgusting. And then the grimy dude goes back off on a rant about Bard and trying to stop him by writing like some dumb laws or whatever to arrest him because he just wants to be a pain. And so Bard is leading the barge through the town and the dwarves through the town, and they're spotted. And of course, they fight the guards and the vendors. The vendors hide them because they're like, dude, we know who these guys are. They're coming to save us. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And then now, Bard runs into his son. He tells his son, he sends him to the house and he tells him to be careful because they are being watched. So they go through like the town square and like a diversion to get back to their house. And the dwarves come out of the toilet and into the house. And I'm like, oh, double pass. Absolutely not. I would rather go back with the fishes. Thank you. I'm not getting out of no privy. No. I would rather take mercury poisoning than to be poisoned by whatever's in that privy. Thank you. Absolutely not. Count me out immediately. So, after that, Thorin notices the elven bow on the watchtower, and that's when Thorin tells of Gideon's story, who was his ancestor who tried to kill the dragon with the black arrow, and Bard gets them the weapons that they agreed on back on the barge because they had a discussion about getting weapons. And the dwarves complain about what they're given because they're like, these are like wooden planks and like wooden stakes. And I'm like, if it works, it works. Atashi, leave him alone. So at this point, Bard already knows who Thorin is, and they can hear Smaug like groaning in the distance. You guys, I was wearing headphones, so I couldn't really hear it. I was also at work. Oh, which reminds me, I should probably get a jacket for tonight because it's gonna be cold. Anyways, yeah, because
That was
it gets
totally
cold.
random.
No, because like at work, I cannot give out my location. I do not feel comfortable with telling people where I'm at. Which do not ever ask me if we're on a phone call or whatever where I'm located at. I don't like giving out my information. Sorry about it.
I'm in a place.
I'm like, I'm in a location. You know what else pisses me off too? When
Stupid
they
people.
call and ask, are you in the United States? Like, that already tells me everything I need to know when you ask me that. I already know how I'm going to treat you. I already know what I'm going to say. I already know that I'm just going to shut the fuck up and do that. The last time somebody did that to me, I'm like, I was like, no inglés, habla español. Because fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Fuck around and find out. And then too. Okay, let's go to therapy for a second. This one guy was screaming and yelling about another agent, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm gonna help you, but please, I understand maybe the other agent didn't get done what you would like, okay? But we're not gonna be calling each other names, and we're not gonna be doing that, okay? We're gonna help each other out. We're gonna be professional. I personally don't like that, okay? Yeah, maybe the agent didn't do their job right, but the name calling, no, that's what pisses me off, because when you call someone a name and degrade them like that, that makes you look like you are superior to them, and you are not superior to them. Okay? Yes, they made a mistake. They are human. There is the human error fact, okay? There is a human error factor, but for you to call someone a name or try to degrade them because you didn't get the effect that you wanted, that's on you. Period. Said what I said. I was recorded. Tell me I'm wrong. Take me to the office. Okay? Take me to your office. Okay. Sorry about that. I got a little clump there. So, anyways, Tariel and Legolas, of course, meet up. Tariel wants to fight, and she says, when did we let evil become stronger than us?
No
It's clearly
comments.
evident by the results of yesterday's election. I'll just leave that there. But, it's going to be my motto for the next 4 years, if there is even going to be a 4 years, because he's already said he's going to be a dictator from day one. So I hope y'all like what you got. Anyways. So of course, Bard comes back into the house, or he goes down to the vendor. He's looking for the tapestry containing the prophecy, because obviously now there's a prophecy, like, you guys. Now there's a prophecy. So Bard figures out the prophecy from this tapestry and wants the dwarves not to leave, because the king will come back and claim the mountain, which Thorin is the king to come back and claim the mountain. The guards obviously find the dwarves and they take them before the mayor, who's obviously disgusting. And then Thorin gets introduced, and they let them know that they came to claim their land. Like, oh, great. Now we have this shit to deal with. All right, take a drink and pause for laughter. Okay. So, of course,
I'm gonna show you a photo of me as the baby sleeping.
Okay. I can't see. I cannot see. You have to show it to me later because it's glaring. Turn it on the side. Ah, it's baby Bluebird. Literally the same. All right. So, Bard tells the dwarves that the dragon will kill them, and they're like, "Cool, we know." And of course, this grimy dude, who literally, I keep calling him grimy because he, like, literally is a knockoff of my dude Brad Dourif as Grima Wormtongue from the
That's
Two
who I thought
Towers.
it was at first.
Literally, stop. You are not Brad Dourif. You are not my brother Chucky. So, like, stop. And so the grimy dude asks who wishes or who vouches for them, and Bilbo says he will. And of course, Bard is trying to warn everyone about what's going to happen with the dragon. And Bard tells Thorin that he has no right to enter the mountain, which, of course, now, because he said that, I'm going to enter the mountain. And Thorin asks the mayor if he doesn't want to fulfill the prophecy. And of course, the dumbass mayor's like, okay, great, because he thinks he's going to get money, but he's not. And then Thorin tells Killy that he has to stay because he's really getting sick and he's like super pale and he can barely walk at this point. And so Thorin tells him to stay and rest. And of course, his brother Philly decides to stay with him. And then they have that other one dude with like that funny looking hat. I don't know what his name is, you guys. They're not saying their name, so I have no fucking idea who it is. And of course, the guards march through the city, and the mayor refuses to help Killy, who is really, really sick, obviously, because, he's like, you can help me, but I can't help you. Like, that's literally the name of the game. And then the 4 remaining dwarves are going back towards Bard's home. And Bard's like, absolutely not. Take that bullshit somewhere else. But the dwarves take a boat. The other dwarves take the barge to the Lonely Mountain, and this is where shit starts popping off. And when they find the mountain, Bilbo reminds them that they have to wait for Gandalf, but of course Thorin's like, no, because, we're supposed to go in there. And then again, now we go back to Gandalf, and it's been like another 20 minutes, and I literally forgot about Gandalf again. But this time, Gandalf and Radagast find the Necromancer Mountain, and Gandalf sends Radagast to get a message to Galadriel. And then Gandalf goes into the mountain alone. And then now we're back at the dwarves, who are looking for the door to the mountain, and they have their little moment where they couldn't figure out the key to get into the mountain. This is one of my favorite parts of this movie. And then, so Gandalf has already made plans to fight the necromancer. And of course, the white orc is looking around waiting for them. Gandalf fights the orc who ambushed him. And then this is where Gandalf finds his old friend who has been there a lifetime. And this is Thorin's father, who Gandalf says to come with him. And Gandalf tells him about the Battle of Moria, or I think the Lonely Mountain. I couldn't really understand what battle they were talking about here. Gandalf tells him Thorin will get the Arkenstone, and then we go back to Bilbo and the remaining crew as they climb the mountain to the hidden door where they are looking for the keyhole. And it's about the sun going down, I think, and that's when things start getting hairy because they can't figure it out. Bilbo says they can't give up now, and they're literally staring at the mountain, which he remembers the riddle that Elrond had told him about, where it had like the moonstones or whatever. Bilbo finds the keyhole after the sun goes down, and Thorin picks up the key that Bilbo almost lost because he dropped it, and then they open the door to the mountain. And so the dwarves have a brief moment when they walk into the lonely mountain where they're like looking around. And Thorin tells them about the Arkenstone. Then we go back to the elder dwarf, who tells Bilbo about the Arkenstone is white and wishes Bilbo good luck and tells him not to wake the dragon. Sorry, not the older elf, the elder dwarf, by the way. These dwarves are from the line of Durin. If you saw the Rings of Power, you know who Durin is, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're back with Gandalf. He's attacked by the white orc, who is ready to fight, but is blasted by Gandalf's staff. And Gandalf is stopped by the necromancer, who then takes Thorin's dad. I don't remember where he took him, by the way, because I think this was the last time that we see him. Gandalf is like, "No, girl, we're gonna fight." So he shows down with the necromancer, who turns out to be the fiery version of Sauron. I told you this is who he turns into be. He turns into the fiery light that's like looking for the damn ring, like y'all. Anyways, so Bilbo is now in
listen, not to interrupt, but can we kind of hurry this along because you know who's waiting on me to pick him up.
Okay, so we can pause it until you.
Okay, we're back.
And we're back. So, where were we at? So I think we were where the elder dwarf tells Bilbo about the Arkenstone, and is white, and that he wishes Bilbo good luck and tell him not to wake the dragon. But the thing that I found interesting is that when they filmed this, they showed like all of this like golden things that are on the floor in like the dragon's lair. And I was like, seriously, Bilbo, fill some of your pockets with some of that gold, okay? The last, where were we? Hold on, I'm just trying to make sure that I have. Okay. So we were at. Okay, so Bilbo is now running through the castle looking for the Arkenstone and that white gem, right? And he's making so much noise. I'm like, dude, why are you so loud? And of course, now he pulls out the ring just as the dragon wakes up, and you can see his eyes like this. He's like, who's there? And it looks like Smaug smells Bilbo, and Bilbo is like invisible. He's like, I can smell you. Smaug is then like goes through the gold and is going around trying to find Bilbo, who's literally can see now the Eye of Sauron. Um, After that, Bilbo now takes off the ring and he's hiding around the corner from Smaug, who's on a rampage. Um, and Bilbo's pleading with him and sees the white gem. He they have a little exchange, the barrel rider and then the dwarves and that the dwarves are not with him. Smaug calls Bilbo a thief and a liar, of course, because he is. And meanwhile, the dwarves are actually outside listening to all of this take place. Like, Bilbo, seriously? Seriously right now? So, back on the mainland, Bard hears the sound from the mountain, and he grabs that large metal black arrow, because he's gonna kill the dragon this time when the dragon flies over. And Smaug says, "No blade can ever pierce me." And that's when you see that he has that little weak spot under his scale that someone had mentioned previously. Which I thought was interesting that they actually showed it. But I digress. And then after this, Bard tells his son to run so that they can hide the arrow. And it seems like they're running for a bit and make it back. He makes it back to his son, who he gives the arrow to and tells him to leave. And then Bard is found and knocked out by the stupid dumb mayor, who looks like the do you remember the Muppet Christmas Carol?
I do.
He looks like the ghost of Christmas Present. That's who he reminded me of.
Yeah.
I'll have to find a picture of it and I'll show it to you
Jolly
later.
fat guy? The jolly fat guy?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I didn't watch it last year, but I think that's where it's from. But yeah, I remember it very clearly. But that's who it looks like. Literally, if that was
Let me see if I can find a picture. Hold on a second.
okay.
Go ahead.
So now the older dwarf is speaking to Thorin, saying that they should go in and help Bilbo. The dwarf says he's afraid for Thorin. Bilbo, meanwhile, is running around, circling Smaug, looking for the Arkenstone. And then here we go again, back to Gandalf. I'm like, dude, so much has happened. I keep forgetting that you're here, Gandalf. You need to sit on a magazine so I can see you. So Gandalf is now being held captive off the side of the cliff by the orcs, because, like, obviously, what else are the orcs going to do in this movie? And then we go back to Bilbo, and Smaug has him shook. I swear to God, Bilbo's pale in this scene. So Bilbo decides to run out of his hiding place and grabs the white Arkenstone, and we see the peak part, or the like weak part of Smaug's of the dragon, where it's like under his scales, and you could see like it's got like a hole there or something.
Wait, who did you say Ghost of Christmas Past or Ghost of Christmas Present?
Ghost of Christmas Past or Present. I think it was Christmas. I think it's Ghost of Christmas Present, because the first one was it was the old man. That one, yes, that one. That's exactly who that looks like. Am I right?
No, because this was the other one. Hold on, wait. This is the Ghost of Christmas Past. It looks like
it looks like a little it's like a spirit. It's like an apparition. It's the Ghost of Christmas Past. And then the old men were the ghost.
We're Marley and Marley.
Yes. Anyways, where were we? So now Bilbo runs out of his hiding place and grabs the white Arkenstone, and of course he sees the white part of the dragon. Then Bilbo puts the ring on and runs around for his life as Smaug is like throwing fire. Bard now can hear the orcs on the roof looking for Killy. Yes, that's Statler and Waldorf. Those are my favorite Muppets. One of my favorite Muppets.
Also, I called him Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
That's exactly what they are. So now the dwarves defends the house because these orcs are coming in, and just as the orcs break in, the Tauriel arrives, and of course Legolas arrives through the sunroof to battle the orcs because Legolas has got it like that. And then after this battle is done, Tauriel of course stays to take care of Killy, and then now we go back into the mountain. Thorin goes back into the mountain after Bilbo, who asks if he found the stone. I can't see what that is. Oh, that's my dude. It's so fun.
Oh, here he is with his director's chair.
Okay, in the Muppet Christmas Carol, they're struggling going over the fence, right? But I forgot what it is that he dropped, and he goes through the bars, and Gonzo looks at him like this.
I think it was a gold doubloon. I think he drops a gold doubloon.
It was like a gold doubloon or something. He's like, oh, I have to go back and get it. And he goes through the bars, and Gonzo was like, girl, you done made me climb that whole ass fence, and you could get through the bars? He was wrong for that.
No, my favorite one is the one in Great Muppet Caper at the end. Pizza delivery. Well, what kind is it? But I hate pepperoni. And then Fozzie, I'll eat
it. Yeah. So, Thorin asks Bilbo if he found the stone. Just as Thorin pushes him back, then all of the dwarves run in for the battle. And then, of course, we go back to Tauriel. She uses an elf remedy to try to cure and apply Killy's wound. He's hallucinating and seeing her by the light. Now the dwarves, Thorin silences the dwarves who are trying to escape Smaug because he's breathing fire. He's like throwing it everywhere. And then they go back to the house. Tauriel is looking down at Killy. His color's slowly coming back. He's been having the hallucinations. And now, as the dwarves are exploring, they find the bones of their people. And Smaug sees them running in all directions and is setting everything on fire. So they go and start getting everything set up, and they have some like really cool moments here. But then the orcs tell the white orc that Thorin has reached the mountain just as he comes face to face with Legolas again, and they start fighting. Legolas chases the white orc on horseback, and then back at the mountain, Thorin tells Bilbo to follow the other dwarfs. Smaug and Thorin finish their fight. And then Thorin says the furnaces are cold, knowing Smaug will blow fire and light it. They send Bilbo up to pull the lever. When Bilbo pulls the lever, it sends lava everywhere. Yes!
Sorry, y'all. I went down a rabbit hole with the Muppet stuff, and now I'm looking at stuff of the Muppets. I'm sorry.
So, Bilbo had pulled the lever, and is sending lava everywhere and starting to melt the gold. And then Smaug is still going crazy, swaying back and forth, trying to get away. And the gold lava is pouring everywhere and out these chutes. And that's when Thorin rides a wheelbarrow down this molting hot gold lava, which, like, honestly, how didn't you burn yourself? Because that has to be like 1,000,000 degrees.
Right.
But Bilbo is still being chased by Smaug to the other side of the mountain, which Smaug bursts through. The door, confronting Bilbo, who's hiding again with the stupid ring. And Smaug says that he's going to go into the city. Thorin goes back and is now confronting Smaug. The dwarves tug at the ropes to reveal the gold statue of the king that begins to melt. And they get Smaug swept up into this gold, which makes him then emerge covered in gold flakes. And just as he emerges out of the gold, he flies up in the air. All this gold comes off him, and that's when the credits roll. That was a lot, you guys. That was a whole lot, and we still got a whole other movie to do. But anyways, that was The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug.
Yes.
All right, you
Indeed.
guys. All right, Bacons. Anything you want to say about the Desolation of Smaug before we go?
I like the movie. Rating on it, I will give it. I will say 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give it probably like a 6 out of 10, only because I think the last movie is far better than this one. But I also took a point off because I'm still a massive Lord of the Rings fan, and like 10 out of 10 all on all three. But like we're gonna be watching the extended edition, so there's going to be a lot of parts that we'll mention that are like in the extended edition. But anyways, I would say a 6. Mainly only because I couldn't catch all the characters' names, and I still don't know all of the characters' names because they either said it or they didn't make it clear who they were. But other than that, yeah, I would definitely rewatch it again.
Same.
All right, Deke, what do we have coming up next on the Pickles and
Well,
Bacon Show Rewind?
well, we'll be doing the Hobbit third part, which is I think there and back again,
Yeah.
and then we will be doing sometime doing that. We'll be doing Lord of the Rings, and also probably take a break for Thanksgiving,
We
and
got
then
two. So we're gonna do um 3 this Sunday, but then we also have we're gonna be doing 2 albums. We're gonna do the Leanne Rhymes Christmas album, and then we're gonna do the Leanne Rhymes cover one, and we'll have those episodes out for you on Sunday.
yes. As far as December, we haven't planned that far yet. I do hope that uh to end next December, I guess you could say. I guess we can do like some kind of countdown where we'll like make it the official last video of the year, and then like we'll start the whole new series of series 2 or whatever, or season 2, however you want to do this.
Yeah. I haven't quite figured out yet what we're gonna do because I know that Christmas is Vlogmas. So
Okay,
I was
yeah, we can end it with Vlogmas. Like we can do the Vlogmas, and then we can like end it there and say that that's going to be the end of season 1, and then we'll see them for season 2.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So we will see you guys next week or on Sunday. Bye.
Peace out, losers.